All right, we're talking both truck and Xfinity in this video here. I imagine it's going to be a shorter one. Not that this is an off week, or not that I'm sandbagging the content, but it's a bit of an off week because a lot of the plays are dictated by qualifying positions just due to the fact that we have so little fast laps and laps led. Like, for example, Xfinity, 48 laps. That's 12 points for leading laps. That is 21.6 fast lap points for trucks. You're only doing 42 laps, so that's 10.5 laps led, and that's 18.9 fast laps points. So yet again, a lot of things are dictated by where these guys end up qualifying. Secondly, April is a pretty crazy week in a sense of you're not really using data that we've been able to gather in the month of March. Maybe if you're looking at Phoenix, for the short tracks, but mainly for April, you got Richmond, Martinsville, Bristol Dirt, and Talladega. So the last two races in April, kind of their own independent races, nothing really leading up to it. And so for me, I'm putting a vast majority of my time this week into preparing and getting ready for Richmond, preparing and getting ready for Martinsville, or at least having an idea of what I want to do there, rewatching some races for that, and doing some F1 stuff, mainly just researching for that, because like I just said about 3 times, the places where they qualify are going to dictate who the plays are this week. Let me go ahead and move this over here. So with Kyle Busch, depending on where he starts, I'll probably have 50% Kyle Busch, just due to the fact that he's here for the win. And I imagine if he qualifies first, he's going to continue leading laps. Now, if Kyle Busch does end up starting for whatever reason, if he ends up starting deep within the field like 8th or 9th, that's when I want to be a bit hesitant, because I believe that there are going to be good plays in this race that are going to be useful. So let's go ahead and kind of go through here. Not interested in Samuel. Not interested in John Atwell. It's for Atwell Racing. Most likely an old CMI truck. Not interested. Not interested in Logan. Lawless Allen, no. Matt Jaskell going to be a no for me. The two Hill brothers are interesting. And shout out, Timmy Hill, 17th in points. I'm telling you, watch out. Timmy Hill's making a run for the playoffs. Ladies and gentlemen, I like Timmy Hill. I like Tyler Hill. I have no worries about the car. These guys have already been swapping in and out of cars left and right in terms of last year. I think they had 4 or 5 trucks last year. Obviously, they're entering 2 trucks in this race here, but due to the fact that Timmy Hill hasn't destroyed a truck this year, they haven't been going down, emergency actions of repairing trucks or falling back on stuff, I'm fairly confident that Tyler's truck was prepared way in advance. It's not like they're taking time away from getting Timmy Hill's truck squared away this week. I'm pretty sure that both these trucks are going to be fine. I'm not worried about them. Spencer Boyd, probably not for me. I don't see him gaining enough positions. Brad, or Bread as they call him. Let me pull this up really quick. He's racing for the Ream brothers, and usually whenever it's more like, oh, so-and-so's making his first ever start. Oh, so-and-so's, and just all the media's on them for just starting the race, not too interested there. And certainly he's not going to have the equipment to really compete here, and so I'm not interested in Brad, and we'll get to the drivers that I do have quite a bit of interest in as we move up, as we get through Dean Thompson. Al Neese entry, I'm mainly really liking the 7K, 8K, and 9K range in this race, but I do want to get through all the guys here. Will Rogers doing double duty this weekend, doing double duty on Sunday. If anything, I would be more interested in him in the Xfinity Series race. The issue is that he's in the 38 car, which is more so just using the 38 points to get in. We'll get into that when we talk about Xfinity, but keep that in mind. I believe Will Rogers is using this more for a practice session. Jack Wood, not interested right now. Blaine Perkins, not interested. And then, so once we get to Tanner Gray, we're, through a big majority of the field, I'm going to assume right now we're using somebody in here. And for me, that's Timmy Hill, that's Tyler Hill. Okay? There's 2 situations here. Timmy Hill is going to be locked into the race. Tyler Hill just has to make it in on time. Tyler is going to have the car that's going to get in there. I don't see him messing up. I see Tyler Hill easily making the field. I see Timmy Hill easily starting in the 20s. I'm perfectly fine with that. I don't see this race completely getting crazy. I think it's going to be spread out. I don't think we're going to see much action here. And so I either want to, A, target guys who, at this point, at their prices, offer me at least a 5x in terms of holding your position the entire race or just gaining 5, 6, 7 positions. I'm not asking you to blow the wheels off of stuff. And so, like, I'm pretty sure we're going to have somebody who looks appealing, you know, like Fogelman starting 31st or Blaine Perkins starting 29th or a situation we have Matt Jaskell starting 32nd. And I understand, you know, wanting to go there, but I'm just not. So personally, if you're starting in the 30s for me, you're starting there because you're slow, and I don't foresee gigantic, huge wrecks in this race. I don't think this is going to be a race of attrition. I think a lot of people are just going to be by themselves, and you know, you're playing guys based on where they should finish and gaining very, very few positions here. And so for me, just Timmy Hill, Tyler Hill in this range here. Taylor Gray, very interested in the DGR entries. When you look back at the races last year, if I can move this stuff up, obviously John Henemannscheck won the race last year. That's great to see. That's good to see that these guys are at least going to bring competent cars. You can look at how Tanner Gray has performed. Obviously, we're talking about Taylor Gray, but you can look at how his brother has performed recently at these races. Ran into issues at COTA last year. Finished 20th in the Daytona Road Course, but these cars are going to be top 20 performing vehicles. Let me get up here on this screen. So Taylor Gray, Haley Deegan, and Tanner Gray, all going to be driving vehicles that are going to be top 20s by default, in my opinion. When you look at Haley Deegan, obviously project her for at least an 18th place finish. I think you bump her up to at least a 13th, and I can just foresee everybody being like, oh, Haley Deegan sucks. She's terrible. Bad luck, man. Like, she's having a rough year. I don't think we need to really completely just trash talk Haley Deegan for things that are not her fault right here. We can when she's putting herself in situations where she's getting wrecked, wrecking people, but certainly like last week's an example of just bad luck. And that's another thing when we look at the road courses. Stage racing sucks. I'm sorry I'm like out of breath. I don't know why. I'm like overheating right now, man. A true American just overheating sitting down. What a world to be in. But with Haley Deegan being so far down in points, I imagine she's going to be chasing as many stage points as possible. And that's just one thing why I hate stage racing in road courses, because you have guys racing for the win and you have guys racing for points. And this is a situation where it can easily hurt you, because I think Haley Deegan has a good day points-wise. I would not be shocked if we see Haley Deegan finish a stage in 10th or 9th, or in both stages finishing 9th or 10th, trying to get points there, and then end up finishing 22nd or something, just due to the fact that she gets past in the long run. And so, and that philosophy for me is more important for Xfinity and Cup, but keep that in mind. I think Haley Deegan is going to be points racing in this one. That does concern me. Not interested in Chris Wright, despite the fact that he is a road course ringer. Not too interested. I don't see Chris Wright getting anywhere higher than probably 18th in this race. Austin Wayne Self, the fact that they're bringing 2 cars into this race is really annoying. I don't like this at all. And it's the main reason why I didn't like Logan, because this is a team that does not need to bring in 2 cars. This is a team who, and you could argue that for Hill Motorsports, so maybe I'm just biased, but I don't think that, you know, the Self family bringing in more cars is going to really help him here. Austin Wayne Self, just pencil him in for a consistent 16th place finish and move on. Colby Howard, not interested. Chase Purdy, not interested, despite the fact that he is in a Hattori car. I'm not going there. I want to go to Tanner Gray. I think Tanner Gray does have a chance to finish in the top 15 and push his way into the top 10. So really, Tanner Gray is the first guy over here that right now, I really like. Obviously, we got to see where people qualify. I'm interested in Ty Majeski. I'm interested in Carson Hocevar. And actually, Hocevar might be one of my favorite plays, because Hocevar screams to me like a guy who is going to start around 8th. And it screams to me as a guy who might finish around 6th. You know, 2 place differential plays, that's that's not bad when you look at how the DraftKings points are going to break down. And if we don't have a ton of people gaining positions, your basic finishing positions on DraftKings might get it done. And so if you have somebody starting 8th with 36 points and they finish the day with 38 points, you're going to be outscoring guys who start in the 30s and finish in the 20s. You're going to be outscoring the guys who start in the teens and finish in the teens. So if I end up playing guys who are starting in the top 15, I am just hoping that this race goes green. These guys don't get stupid. And Carson Hocevar is a guy that screams to me as a guy who is going to be up there all day in the front. I can take that same stance with Tyler Ankrum, although I'm not too heavy on that. Parker Kligerman, I'm very interested in what the hold on a minute. I had to move. Okay, sorry. I'm very interested in where Parker qualifies, because if Parker starts up front, very similar to the Hocevar play, I would just rather play Hocevar. Or it's not necessarily me getting off of Park Kligerman, but I don't know where his ownership's going to come into. And it's very curious that they priced him at $8,500. I thought he would be at least $9,000. So I don't know if that's going to bring more guys in or not. I like Eckes. I think Friesen's going to do something stupid. Not interested in him. Don't think I'm going to go out of my way to play DiBenedetto right now. I like Enfinger. I like Chandler Smith. I like Ben Rhodes. I like Zane Smith. Kaz Gralla, I don't mind it. Almost won this race last year. I think Gralla is another guy who is going to be running inside the top 10. For me, it all comes down to where Kyle Busch starts in this race. Because if Kyle starts first, I would most likely give Kyle probably 35 laps led and probably 30 points. So let's just say Kyle Busch starts first. Leads 35 laps, that's 8.75 laps led, and 30 fast laps, that's 13.5. A grand total of 67.25 for Kyle Busch right now. And that's saying if he starts first, finishes first, walks away with this race. When you start getting down to him, let's give him 22 laps led, let's give him 15 fast laps. That knocks him down to 57. I think that's still going to be optimal. Just due to the fact we're going to have a lot of people scoring in the 30s and very few people in the 40s, if anything. Right now, my early projections would probably have Kyle Busch with... What does this do here? I think right now I'd give Kyle Busch 54 DraftKings points. That's 18 laps led, 12 fast laps. I do like 27 laps led, 19 fast laps. So right now, gun to my head, I'm projecting Kyle Busch anywhere from probably 54 points to probably 64 or 66. I think 54 to 66 is Kyle Busch's projections right now. The reason I'm saying that out loud is because that comes back to where you project everybody else to finish. If we got a lot of guys, let's just say, for example, people like Enfinger, say he starts 8th or something, and he moves up and finishes 6th, that's 40 points for Enfinger. That's still a significant gap between Kyle Busch and Enfinger and other guys who might project, who hit low 40s or high 30s. You might still need Kyle Busch. That's the main reason why I started the truck series with talking about I'll probably have 50% Kyle Busch in lineups right now. Very similar to F1, to where there's so few laps led and fast laps out there, is that the guy who gets them is going to be important. Anyway, that's where I'm at right now. We'll go down the guys that I'm interested in right now on the rankings, then we'll talk about the Xfinity. So I like Kyle Busch. I like where he's at. I'd much rather go John Henemannscheck than Sheldon Creed right now. I don't think I'm going to have much interest in Bowman. I am interested in Gralla. I don't mind Zane Smith. I like Rose. I like Infinger. This is where we're at right now in terms of my interest. And we get lower and lower here. About the main top half of the field. This is where I'm at right now in terms of my interest, my rankings. I'm very interested in a very balanced build right now, and there's just a good chance the only guys down here that I play are Timmy Hill and Tyler Hill. That's just where we're at right now. Especially if people don't want to play Tyler Hill, then I'll probably be all over Tyler Hill. Let's go ahead and wander into the Xfinity Series. So now that we get to Xfinity, same thing here. Like I said, 48 laps, 12 laps led, 21.6 fast laps. That's just how it's going to be. Obviously, we're going to send home the slow guys. I'm not too concerned about that. Let me bring this in here. Let me do this. Sorry, I try not to leave just a bunch of dead air in the video. So as we move up, not interested in Mike Harmon. Bobby Dotter, not going to do it for me. Very similar types of lineup construction opinions right now as I have for the Truck Series, for the Xfinity Series, of where I just want to mainly not chase place differential right now. I know it's very tempting to do that, but with practice and with qualifying and guys starting where they should finish and guys starting where they are based on the cars, I don't foresee gigantic place differential plays. There might be one or two chalk plays there, but outside of that, I'm going to be targeting guys starting inside the top 20 right now. So, don't like Poole. I don't think he's going to make the field. Joe Graff Jr. probably won't qualify. Don't like Parsons. Vargas is interesting at 4,800. However, I would much rather go to other plays down here. I do like his 17th place finish at the Roval, but I'm pretty sure that was the rained soaked one. Don't remember. That's not important. Mid-Ohio last season, 18th. Interesting, but that did turn to a wreckfest late in that. Anyway, we'll continue going up. Definitely not playing a Woogie here. Bailey Curry has always ran a Mike Harmon car, so I think that's a situation where if you're looking at Bailey Curry's finishes, you're just going to see Bailey Curry in red left and right. 32nd, 14th, 34th, 35th, 37th, 32nd, 37th, 37th. I'm really interested in Bailey Curry for this race here. I think that's a very interesting play. Gallagher, I'm assuming that Rod Sieg is just trying to keep points going at this point because they have basically sold 2 of their numbers this weekend. So not interested in Patrick Gallagher. Is he related to Spencer Gallagher? I probably need to look into that. But his name does not ring a bell. I'm more familiar with Spencer. I couldn't find much of anything on Patrick, but I probably did a poor job in my first little overview early in the week when the salaries came out. So I probably need to do a better job at that one. Josh Williams, BJ McLeod Motorsports. Maybe people look back at his recent finishes and recent races and go towards him, where I would much rather. I am very interested in Bailey Curry. That's just me. Gar Robinson, I mean, you want to talk about a con man. Jimmy Means, con man, basically taking a class winner from the Rolex 24 and putting him in his 52 machine. I mean, let me see the car, Jimmy. Right now, I am not interested in Robinson just because I don't believe that car is going to do it. And even with that, like, dude, I think Gar just got freaking conned here. But that's just me. Sage Karam, Josh Bilicki, I would much rather play Josh Bilicki. Josh Bilicki is a veteran of road course racing. He's a guy who has never really had a ton of good equipment on these road courses. A guy who has a ton of road course experience. I'm interested in Josh Bilicki here. And this is sense to where, yeah, sure, it's Tommy John Martin's car, but I can stop moving stuff around on our sheet over here. I don't believe that. It's not going to be the best car, but I don't foresee any mechanical failures for the Alpha Prime Beta male entry that Josh Bilicki is going to drive. Same thing with Sage Karam, but I would much rather play Josh Bilicki. Want to see where JJ Yaley qualifies. As I said, Will Rogers basically running a practice session in the Truck Series earlier in the day. Maybe that'll sway me on how he runs. I want to see how he does in both practice sessions. This is the race I'd much rather be interested in playing him. But even with that said, I'm not too high on him right now. I think Jeb Burton is severely underpriced. I don't understand what this is about. Him at $6,100. If Jeb Burton is going to start in the top 20 and finish in the top 20, I'm probably going to have a ton of Jeb Burton this weekend. Ryan Sieg, same thing. I like that. Not too interested in Scott Heckert. Just don't really want to mess around with that. Despite the fact it's going to be in the 5 car for BJ McLeod. So you can look at it this way: is how many good BJ McLeod cars do they have left? From our understanding the media's understanding is that BJ McLeod bought a lot of the retired Junior Motorsports cars entering this year. Now that he said that, let's take a step back. How many cars have been absolutely destroyed? Like front end clips having to be cut off of these cars because other BJ McLeod cars have just completely gotten destroyed these races. So we probably won't get that confirmation. This is where I'm very interested in practice, because if Scott Heckert is out there running and showing good speed in practice, and that shows me that they at least saved one of the Junior Motorsports cars for the road courses. If he's off pace, that's going to show where this team is as a whole. Not necessarily for this race, but where they are in terms of having those cars that he bought from Junior Motorsports left. Because if they're off pace across the board in this race, where they're specifically putting Scott in this car to perform well, and he's not, and then it's just showing me that they don't have any of the good cars left. As we continue on, Brandon Brown, I like it. I don't mind Brandon Brown at all. I think we can pencil Brandon Brown in for probably 6th place differential points. I think he'll probably start 18th. I think he can finish 12th pretty easily. Alex LeBay, Preston Pardus, man. My life as a whole on these damn road courses for Xfinity Series have been summed up by playing these morons. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. I don't really have much more of an opinion than that. I'm not lying. I think I've played Alex LeBay and Preston Pardus in lineups in every single road course race dating back to probably 2019. Whenever they started, I played Preston Pardus in his first race with him and his dad building that car, and I played him in the last race. And it is very much a 50-50 split on what happens with Preston Pardus. I do like that this is a legit road course. I hate that it's a not very fun road course, but in terms of technical, as I say technical, we're going to have guys blowing corners and using a ton of runoff area. But I think that helps Preston Pardus be able to survive. You hear me talk a lot about Pardus, specifically of the races that he gets caught up in wrecks. And he gets caught up in wrecks. First off, Parson, it's your fault at this point. I can't be like, oh man, I hope he doesn't get caught up in a wreck. Parson puts himself into bad situations in these races that cause him to get involved in late race wrecks. It happened at, Mid-Ohio last year. You know, I think Pardus was running 11th or something, and he got spun on the last lap. It's happened tons and times before. So the reason I'm going back to at least COTA being it's somewhat realistic racetrack is because Pardus almost always gets involved in wrecks on tight road courses. And it's going to be a tight road course, but I think everything's going to be spread out enough to where if he can make it through the first lap of a restart, he'll be fine. He struggled at the Daytona road courses in both races. Indy, 50-50 right now on him getting DNF'd. Watkins Glen actually survived a race not getting wrecked. Mid-Ohio got wrecked late in the race, still finished 25th. Road America, wrecked late in the race in 2019. Since then, able to miss chaos late in those races because the field gets spread out, and he's able to survive the first couple corners and he doesn't get wrecked. That's fine. COTA last year, he finished 14th in a race that was a lap turner. That's all I want to see from Preston Pardus. That's all I want to see from Alex Labbe. I want a lap turner if I'm playing these guys. If this race gets stupid in this race, I would not be shocked if we see Pardus or Labbe caught up in the last lap wreck. So keep that in mind. I will still probably play quite a bit of Preston Pardus and Alex Labbe. Jeremy Clements. I would much rather play Pardus. I'd much rather play Alex Labbe. Parker Chase, not really interested in Parker Chase here. Labbe and Pardus will most likely own my soul in the 6K range. Alfredo, which yet again, Alfredo, my boy, what are you doing, my main man? First off, I'm pretty sure you gave yourself the nickname Fast Pasta. But you know what you don't do? You don't ask people. Settle the debate. It's critical which one is a better nickname. As I said, you're ramen noodle boy. You're trash. You're garbage. You're terrible. If you're voting in this, you're terrible. You're part of the issue. Not too interested in Anthony Alfredo for this event here. Continue going up. Brett Moffatt, really poor, absolute horrible finishes last year, man. Got caught up in wrecks. Daytona Road Course finished 11th. Watkins Glen 26, ran into issues. Mid-Ohio, late in the race, last restart, ignition issues, car shuts off. Road America, caught up in a wreck. I'm not playing Moffatt. I think Moffatt's going to run into some issues somehow, some way. And even then, say if you're looking at his Truck Series races, I mean that's him in top equipment. He did not have to race people. I think Moffatt gets into some hot water here. I don't like Moffatt. I don't like Myatt Snyder. I'm interested in Jade Buford. It's not Buford, Pierce. It's Buford. I like Hill. I actually like Sam Mayer. He's actually impressing me here and there. I called his wreck at Road America last year. I called his wreck at Indy, but I am liking that he finished 10th in the Roval. I am liking that he finished 10th at Watkins Glen. If he starts, and he's pretty darn cheap, man. $7,800 for a guy that I think is going to start probably around 14th, probably finish 9th. I'm perfectly fine with that from Sam Mayer. I like Josh Berry as well. I actually really like Josh Berry. This is a place where Josh Berry's a racer, man. He's got skill. $7,900. I think Josh Berry can easily compete for a top 6 in this race. I like Herbst. Parker Kligerman, there's no way in hell I'm playing this Gase machine unless I can figure out where this car is from. But have you looked at the car? It's a local restaurant. Hello? That should be sending red flags throughout the field there, at least DFS-wise, not playing Parker Kligerman. I like Castle. When we look back at his finishes in the last 5 years, it's been in poor equipment. Castle's putting time in I think Castle's going to be very comfortable in this race. That'll be confirmed in practice, but I think Castle's going to perform pretty well. Sheldon Creed, we'll do a wait and see approach there. Miguel Paluto, kind of same thing with Preston Pardus. He's finished well in races that get spread out. He's been wrecked by the field in other races. If you're playing Miguel Paluto, you're hoping that this race stays green. I'm fine with Jones. I'm fine with Wallace. Just depends on if he gets spun late in the race. Same thing here. So Wallace, if we're playing Bubba Wallace, we're hoping this race goes green. If we're playing Miguel Paluto this race, we're hoping this race goes green. Pardus and Labbe fall into that category as well. I think Cole Custer is going to be inside the top 10 all day. I think Hemrick's going to be inside the top 10. Noah Gregson's going to be inside the top 10. I got to check and see where Gregson was running because he did catch on fire last year in the COTA race. Let me just look really quick. If I can find this real quick, and if I don't have to, I will do that later. I will do that later this evening. I like Gregson. Chastain. Mario Gosling car. I would just rather play Pardus, to be honest with you. I don't really have any interest in Allgaier right now because the two guys that I do want to target up here are AJ Allmendinger and Ty Gibbs. The pricing is too soft this week up top. There's no reason AJ Allmendinger should be 10-5. There's no reason Ty Gibbs should be 10-4. I thought that both these guys would probably be pushing $11,000 or in the 11,000s. I'm very fine with that. I like the idea of playing Bailey Curry. I like the idea of playing Parker Chase and Alex LeBay. Those three guys, in my mind, seem like a great place to start your lines because you can play whoever you want after that, or you can, once you get to that point, you can upgrade either Parker. You can either upgrade from Pardis to somebody else, or from LeBay to somebody else. I'll probably own quite a bit of Ty Gibbs this weekend and AJ Allmendinger. That's where my initial takeaways are at. But yet again, it's a road course, and a lot of these plays are dictated by where these guys start. So thank you for watching. Hopefully this helps you out in some form or fashion, and the Cup Series video will be recorded shortly. So if you're interested in that, just stick around and it'll be up in a moment.